everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Life in West Virginia. Now, I'm cheating just a little bit on this one. This story is actually not about life in West Virginia. This is something that happened to me while I lived in Massachusetts. I was able to finally get some video of it, and I wanted to post it. So what happened? I caught a bad guy. I started receiving all sorts of mail, statements, actual checks in someone else's name, but to my address. And I figured out that this guy was scamming the welfare department. And I could not get anyone to care. I called the fraud hotlines. I did everything I could. I finally went to the police department to file a report because I thought, look, I don't know how, but one way or the other, this will probably come back to bite me. So I got it on file that I had tried. I had contacted my state rep. Nothing happened. So, after actually several months, I got fed up. And I contacted WBZ Channel 4 in Boston. Well, I got a phone call back within a half an hour. That led to actually 4 different news stories on Channel 4. I have a couple here that I'm going to show you. So let me say right off the top, Ryan, the reporter, awesome guy. BZ was superior, best you could ask for. So my heartfelt thanks to BZ and to Ryan. It was working with them was just wonderful, and as you're going to see, I won. So here we go. So the first thing you're going to see is going to be a little intro. It's very short, but it's a little intro to the story. So here comes that.
An I-Team investigation tonight leads to a man in handcuffs.
If I may be so bold, I'm a little proud of it. I caught a bad guy.
Still to come, this guy's call to our tip line sparked a welfare fraud investigation and some serious charges. Plus...
So, that was the intro to it. This next part is where the awesome reporter Ryan actually tracked the guy down and got him on camera. This led to an actual investigation by the Attleboro Police Department. And I also want to say all thanks to the Attleboro Police Department. They were awesome. The detective I worked with could not have been a nicer person. Good people all around. So here comes where he got caught.
A Rhode Island man accused of ripping off Massachusetts taxpayers to get welfare benefits. And as Ryan Kath shows us, it all started with a tip to the I-Team after an Attleboro man received some mysterious mail at his home.
Commonwealth versus Paul Hession.
Paul Hession stepped before a judge today facing charges of welfare fraud.
Ryan Kath with WBZ.
The I-Team caught up to him last year across the state line.
We're trying to figure out why you're trying to get benefits in Massachusetts if you live in Rhode Island.
That I'm trying to get benefits?
Hession acted dumbfounded when we asked why Massachusetts was still providing taxpayer-funded assistance.
Mailing me checks?
Yes.
I'd like to see these checks. What are you talking about? I'm not getting any checks.
But according to investigators, Hession received $54,000 of fraudulent benefits while living out of state. Steve Gaynor started receiving the mysterious mail at the Attleboro home he'd owned for 7 years. But when he tried alerting the government, he said nobody would listen. That's when he contacted the I-Team.
I'm so very thankful for BZ, for you guys, for helping. But it shouldn't have to come to that. There are consequences. You're not just stealing from the government. You know, you're stealing from us. You're stealing from people that need it.
How concerning is that to you?
That's very concerning to me and all the taxpayers out there as well. Things like that should not be happening.
State lawmaker Shauna McConnell thinks recent reforms don't go far enough to prevent the problem.
The language that we have passed has been a little bit sloppy in the past, has created these loopholes and allowed people to get away with these things.
But Gaynor, who watched Hession leave the courtroom in handcuffs, is glad he remained persistent.
I would like to say, to the various fraud departments in government, I got mine. Now you guys go get the rest of them.
After our story, the case was referred to the state auditor's office. The auditor tells the I-Team she's proposing a bill that would give her investigators subpoena power to more aggressively identify welfare fraud. Meantime, Hession is being held tonight on $15,000 bail. Prosecutors say they'll ask for jail time because it's unlikely he'll be able to refund all that taxpayer money. For the I-Team, Ryan Kath, WBZ News.
And the final clip. This is where he got sentenced. As I recall, he was caught embezzling, that's not the right term, but committing fraud to the tune of $54,000 is how much he had collected. At least that's what they could prove. And what you're going to see now is where he got sentenced. And this bad boy went to jail for a couple of years. So the wheels of justice grind slowly, but exceedingly small.
Tonight, an I-Team investigation is getting real results. A Rhode Island man admits that he ripped off Massachusetts taxpayers, pleading guilty today to welfare fraud.
And now he'll spend time behind bars. The I-Team's Ryan Kath joins us with the very latest. Ryan?
And Lisa, a Bristol County prosecutor credited the I-Team in court today with uncovering this case and highlighting the abuse of taxpayer dollars. Paul Hession admitted in court today that he stole thousands of dollars from Massachusetts taxpayers.
We're trying to figure out why you're trying to get benefits in Massachusetts if you live in Rhode Island.
That I'm trying to get benefits?
Hession acted perplexed when the I-Team first caught up with him in 2015 to ask why he was cashing in benefits while living out of state.
Mailing me checks?
Yes.
I'd like to see these checks. What are you talking about? I'm not getting any checks.
The story came to us from Steve Gaynor, who for months received mail addressed to Hession at his Attleboro home, even after he repeatedly tried calling the state's fraud hotline.
I had I had actual evidence. I had checks, okay, that I had received of fraud, and I couldn't get anyone to do anything about it.
In court, prosecutors outlined Gaynor's frustration.
He tried to call many times to the hotline for fraud in the Commonwealth. No response, so he called the WBZ I-Team, which are in a story where he confronted the defendant.
That I-Team story prompted a criminal investigation, and Hession has been behind bars since his arraignment last April.
I'm delighted that it finally happened.
Glad about the conclusion, Gaynor hopes the state will pay more attention in the future.
They need to take this a little more seriously. They're always talking about we have to end fraud in government. Well, there you go. There it is.
As part of the plea agreement, Hession was sentenced to 2 years in jail, and he'll have to pay back more than $9,000 in benefits to the state agencies. For the I-Team, Ryan Kath, WBZ News.
And that's it. That's my story. I'll end with a picture I received a special proclamation from the Massachusetts House of Representatives for my work on this, and I will put that at the end. That made me feel pretty good too. So this is it for this episode of Life in West Virginia. I'll try to get back to more about actual life in West Virginia in my next episode. I hope to see you there. Bye.